Welcome to the Stop Over Drinking and Start Living podcast, where high-achieving working moms come to learn how to stop over drinking, reduce overwhelm and anxiety, and show up like the players they were meant to be. I'm your host, Angela Mascenik, and let's dig in. Welcome to episode 46, Success Risk. Hello. What's up? Oh my gosh, you guys, I am in Nashville, Tennessee right now. I was supposed to fly home this morning, and our flight's delayed because it snowed last night, and it's like under 15 degrees or something, so all of the planes are on a 2-hour delay. So today is my normal day that I record my podcast, so I am in my Airbnb in downtown Nashville recording my podcast, which is awesome. Me and two of my friends came down for a concert. The band that we came to see is called Jamestown Revival. I'm going to link up their website in the show notes. But I've seen them in North Carolina before. They're super awesome. Some young guys, sort of folky country type music, amazing musicians. And they're opening for a larger country music star called whose name is Ryan Bingham. I'm also going to link him up. So we didn't really know who Ryan Bingham was. We just were like, oh yeah, maybe we'll stay. Maybe we'll leave early. We're here to see Jamestown Revival. Well, last night we went to, the show was at the Ryman Auditorium in downtown Nashville, which is a historic theater. It actually used to be an old church, and it used to be the Opry House, the original Opry House, until they built a new one. So this venue was just unbelievable. Very intimate. Sound quality was on point. You could hear people like talking across the theater. It was like you were like on stage with these guys. It was so awesome. So anyway, Ryan Bingham was a pleasant surprise. Totally rocked the house. Amazing storyteller. And, you know, I love a good, like, coming from nothing type story, right? So this guy grew up in a very small town in New Mexico, close to the border, and poor, you know, in a trailer, no jobs, no education. And his mom gifted him a guitar when he was 16 years old. And the guy just went out and made something of himself. And his mom died of alcoholism, and his dad ended up killing himself. And he incorporated this storytelling about his life into his music. And it was just like so inspiring to hear. And he brought out our band on stage, and they just totally rocked. So I'm going to link up Ryan Bingham, his website. And if you guys want to check him out on Spotify, his album Ryan Bingham Live played all of the shows, or all the songs that we heard last night. It was so awesome. I love that guy. I would totally go see him again. If he's ever in your area, you should see him and Jamestown Revival. And they ended up being from the same town. Like, they didn't know each other as kids, but after they got in the music circuit and Ryan Bingham asked them to open for him on tour, they realized that they're from the same town. So cool. The universe is amazing. Anyway, this episode is about success risk. I'm going to get into that here in a minute, but I want to talk to you a little bit about my private coaching program. And normally I save a little bit of information about that to the end, but I want to talk about it here now because I am about ready to change up my business, and I want to make sure that you all understand what I do and what I offer people that want to come work with me privately, and or what it looks like to work with me in general. But what we do in private coaching with each other is we're unpacking your current thoughts about alcohol, why you drink it, what happens in your brain when you are in your regular drinking pattern, right? So like when you're coming home from work, all right, or you're making dinner, and so many of you tell me you drink wine while you're cooking dinner, right? We're looking at what your thoughts and your feelings are in those patterns that you have, and what feelings you may have that you haven't really been, you know, like conscious of because you've been drinking, right? And what happens when we do this is that you become conscious of your thoughts and your feelings instead of being on autopilot and deferring all of this to the back of your brain. So when I talk about deferring things to the back of your brain, it's like when you learn how to ride a bike. Like you have to really work hard to do that in the beginning, right? So you're very conscious of it. There's lots of failures and you're trying over and over again. But once you learn how to do that, it's deferred to the back of your brain. You don't have to think about it anymore, right? So when we work together, we're bringing all of your thoughts, all of your sort of automatic thought patterns and feelings up to the conscious level to evaluate them. Then we can get to work to fix it, and I can coach you on how to create new thoughts that will generate feelings that will drive different actions, like not drinking, like honoring your commitments, to go to the gym or to declutter your closet or to meal prep for the week, right? Once we see what is going on, then we can change it, but it takes an experienced coach to ask the right questions, and it takes clients like you guys that are open to answering those questions, okay? This work is life-changing if you're open to being totally vulnerable with how you are thinking, without judgment, right? I don't judge your thoughts or tell you you shouldn't think certain things, but rather I show you how your thoughts don't serve you, which means how they are causing the behavior that you are trying to change, right? So our thoughts create our feelings, and then our feelings drive our actions. And all I do is show you which thoughts are causing a feeling, and those feelings are driving your actions. And if your actions aren't in alignment with the goals that we've established that you wanted to work on, then I coach you to come up with new thoughts, okay? So if you've been thinking of working with me, now is your chance, my friends. We have about 1 more month where I'm accepting private clients, where I work with you one-on-one. And then I'm changing my private program, and I won't be offering the private support that I am right now. What I'm going to be offering is going to be amazing, right? But it's not going to have the support, the hand-holding support privately, just me and you, that I'm currently offering right now. So if you are hoping to have a private coach, or if you like the idea of working with me one-on-one in a very intimate level, then I want you to get on my calendar, request a consultation. I'm going to link that up in the show notes, all right? So today's episode is about risk. Yep, risk. And I want you to stay with me. This is so important for you guys to evaluate when you think about investing in yourself or doing something different for your personal goals, okay? So what do you think when you hear the word risk? I think potential loss of time, money, or potential failure. That's what I think when I hear the word risk. The Oxford English Dictionary defines risk as exposure to the possibility of loss, injury, or other adverse or unwelcome circumstance, a chance or situation involving such a possibility. The top 5 explanations of risk are: 1, risk is an influence affecting strategy caused by an incentive or condition that inhibits transformation to quality excellence. Risk is an uncertain event or condition that, if occurs, has an effect on at least one project objective. 3, the probability of something happening multiplied by the resulting cost or benefit, i.e. risk factor. Number 4, the probability of threat or quantifiable damage, injury, liability, loss, or any other negative occurrence that is caused by external or internal vulnerabilities, and they may be avoided. 5 is finance. The possibility of an actual return on an investment will be lower than the expected return. All right, so there's lots of ways we can look at risk. Today I'm talking about risk when we look at investing in ourselves to solve a personal issue, such as overdrinking. So many of you don't want to invest in yourself because it is a risk. Okay, you might not have used this word before, but if you have thoughts like it might not work, or I don't want to spend more money on another program that won't work, or I can probably do it on my own, I don't need to pay for it, you are not willing to take a risk and invest in yourself if you're having thoughts like that, which is fine. Like, I don't want you to judge yourself like that. It's okay to understand where you are on like taking risks, okay? This is totally normal. Most people don't want to take risks, especially after a certain age. We're less inclined to take risks, right? Especially when it has to do with personal transformations. Do you guys want to know why? Do you? Because we don't believe it'll pay off. It always comes down to these 3 things. We either don't think we can do it, don't think the program will help, or don't understand the value, right? So we aren't willing to take a risk and invest when we fall into one of these categories. We take risks all the time. We just don't see them as risks. Here are some examples. We risk our safety when we drive our cars every day. It's a risk to get our cars and drive. We could get in an accident and we could die every time we leave our driveway, but we do it anyway because the benefit to us outweighs the risk. The convenience of driving to the store to get groceries outweighs the risk of dying in a car accident. Isn't that crazy? We could die in our car, and we know this, but we're still willing to do it. We risk our health when we overdrink. We know that overdrinking causes health problems, especially for women. It's linked to breast cancer, heart problems, high blood pressure, weight gain, but we're willing to take those risks and trade for the immediate pleasure of a glass of wine. We risk our time and money when we plan vacations. We risk losing our money when we book flights and trips and don't buy traveler's insurance. We take risks in going to new places and not knowing exactly what it'll be like. We risk it all falling apart if someone gets sick. We're willing to take those risks because of the idea of future fun, right, and relaxation on a vacation. We risk heartbreak and loss when we have kids. We risk significant loss and pain when we have kids, right? They could die. They could have disabilities. They could get sick. We are willing to risk all of that for the love of being a parent. We risk heartbreak and loss when we are in romantic relationships. We know that relationships can end and our hearts can be broken, but we are willing to risk that for love. So when we look at the risks involved investing into ourselves and attempting to permanently solve an overdrinking issue, and you don't move forward and do it, it's because you aren't willing to risk losing the investment. Risk being in the same place you are now. If it doesn't work, you aren't really willing to risk more failures. Why? Why aren't you willing to take those risks? Those are questions you want to ask yourself. Really think about this. Even pause the podcast and write down your answers. Ask yourself, why am I not willing to take a risk and invest in myself to stop over drinking permanently? The first answers that your brain comes up with are the answers. Did your brain say something like this? Because I don't think it'll work, or because I'm not willing to do the work, or because I don't see how it could help, or because I've never been able to stick to anything before, or because I don't have the money, or because I need the money to do X, Y, or Z. Right? So now we know your thoughts about taking a risk and investing in yourself to stop over drinking. Now we have something to work with. I want to really evaluate the risk of investing in yourself. Okay? So let's do that now. What are the real risks? Yes, so investing money and not being any different than you are now. That's a risk, right? You invest and you are any better off than you are right now. And yes, that could happen. So you are out some money. That's the biggest risk. You spend money and you don't achieve the changes you want. What you want to ask yourself here in this sort of line of questioning is what you are risking if you do get the changes that you so desperately want, right? By not doing it, you are risking freedom from the pull to drink. Doing the things you want to be doing, like exercising on a regular basis, improving your relationships, making more money, losing weight permanently, long-term health improvements, decreasing your cancer risk, feeling more energy, sleeping better, being more productive, right? I could go on, right? To me, the opportunity lost, meaning all the things you could gain. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. To me, the opportunity lost, meaning all the things you could gain, is a far greater risk than losing out on some money. Okay? When I was considering signing up to be a certified life coach at the life coach school, I had to evaluate the risk. It was a big risk that I could see. I was making it was almost a $20,000 investment and then never making any money as a life coach. I would be out $20,000. That would be my financial risk, okay? Was that a risk that I was willing to take? What was I risking if I said no? And then I looked at all the things I could gain if that investment paid off for me. I could make a nice living as a life coach. I could work from home. I would be my own boss. I could help people. I could write books. I could be a public speaker. The opportunities were limitless. The money I could make was limitless. That was the real risk. What I could miss if I didn't do it. What I would also miss was me following my dream, of me thinking about doing something versus actually doing it. Okay, so when I really sat down and evaluated the risk on both sides, meaning what I would be out if I invested and never made a cent as a life coach versus what would happen if my investment did pay off, the answer was crystal clear to me. I'm not going to risk the life of my dreams because the worst case scenario of me being out $20,000. I could cash in my retirement account to pay off the investment if I didn't make the money back. I knew my family wouldn't starve. Our lives wouldn't be dramatically different if it didn't work out. That's the way I thought about it, okay? So I went for it, I knew that I would pay that off. I knew that I would make it work, right? But what if I didn't? I wouldn't be here now. I wouldn't have helped hundreds of women stop over drinking. I wouldn't have earned 6 figures my first year in business, times a million other things that I've done in the past year, the relationships I've built, the friendships and the people I've met. I can't imagine me sitting back there like I was a few years ago on that auto-repeat cycle, feeling scared to invest in myself and thinking about it and not actually doing anything. Okay? The biggest risk I want you to evaluate is your future life. What are you risking by not solving this problem? I want you guys to really go big here. Really dream what it would be like if you stopped over drinking and started living a life on purpose and intention. What would a life be like for you if you started doing the things you really wanted to do instead of drinking wine every night and numbing out and avoiding doing the things that could bring you fulfillment and happiness? If you could do anything in this one precious life, what would it be? What is stopping you? I think investing in yourself actually comes with minimal risk. I can control the outcome of my investment because I know what I will do or will not do. We take bigger risks in the stock market or other people where we can't even control the outcome, right? You can control the outcome when you invest in yourself every single time. Choose you. Choose your life. All right, that's it this week, my friends. Get on my calendar if you want my help, if you're willing to invest in yourself and create that life that you want instead of being on the auto-repeat cycle that you currently are. All right, my friends, talk to you next week. Bye for now.